Hey everyone, and welcome back to Building the Bireme. Today we are going to do, well, more planking. That's right, more planking is going to be involved in this video. Now what I'm doing here is I'm actually covering the ribs with some of the planks because the ribs of this ship model are made with laser cut plywood. And because of that, you can see the layers that comprise the plywood, and of course the edges are burnt, so it makes it stand out even more. Now in that cup is near boiling water, and I'm soaking the planks to try to get them to soften up so that they can follow the curve and go around those ribs. This sorta works out. Well, it works out well enough. You know, for as many issues as I was having with the super glue, this part right here is where it came in really clutch. I could not imagine having to do this with the wood glue, so I guess I'll stick with the super glue. For now. No pun. So as you can see, I'm pretty much just gluing them down and using the spring clips to hold them in place. I'm not gonna worry about that gap at the top. It's eventually gonna get covered. So last time I discussed the political structure of the Greeks and the general reason for the Greco-Persian War, now in its second iteration. But the Ionian Revolt had been quashed well before Xerxes came into power, and though he thirsted for revenge, that wasn't the only reason why Xerxes decided to invade. You see, during the Ionian Revolt, the cities that participated in that revolt had some help, specifically from Athens. And though the Ionian Revolt had been soundly defeated, Athens had not been adequately punished in Xerxes' eyes. Now we're getting into the good stuff, the bottom planks. Unfortunately, not all of the ribs lined up properly, so I'm having to put little spacer planks in there. I suspect I'm going to run out of planks, but who knows, maybe not. One thing you will notice though is that I'm splitting the planks into shorter sections, and I'm not putting the edges along the same rib. This ensures there's not a line that goes along one of the ribs. That would draw your eye to it too much. So in case you were wondering, yes, the ends of those planks are soaked in water as well. That, like before, is going to get them to try to conform to the curve of the back part of the boat, that tail thing that sort of sticks up and comes around. It was at this point that I realized that the center portion underneath, the keel, was also showing those layers of plywood, so of course I had to cover it up. By the way, those little hand tools, the tweezers and the needle nose pliers and all that, oh, that was money well spent. Now I'm not gluing my fingers together. But punishing Athens wasn't the only goal Xerxes looked to accomplish by invading Greece. He also wanted the gold reserves in northern Greece and the area known as Thrace. It was these two goals that drove Xerxes to push his men into Greece, and because his father had failed, Xerxes built an army so large he practically couldn't. Depending on the source, the Persian army was anywhere from 250,000 all the way up to 1 million soldiers strong. Accompanying that army was also the largest navy ever seen to this point. If you remember from an earlier episode, I mentioned that pontoon bridge. Well, where do you think all the boats came from? Crossing the Hellespont into northern Greece, Xerxes quickly captured many cities and territory. All the while, his navy followed along the shore. It's important to know that the Persian army received any supplies that they could not take from the countryside by this navy. This comes into play much later, so be sure to remember that. You can go ahead and pause the video if you need to see the way that I've got that little spring clip set up. I have a handle from another spring clip sort of jammed in there so that when I clamp onto a rib, there's a little tab that sticks out and holds down planks. I saw a picture of it on a forum and it ends up working out pretty well. Now, we often like to think of the Greeks as stoic defiers of the Persian Empire, but it should be noted that, when faced with such overwhelming odds, some of the Greek city-states chose to open their doors and submit to the empire rather than fight. Some even chose this option before the war had even started. This finishes up the bulk of the smaller planks that are going to be real hard to get to once the outer planks are on. So in the next video, I think we're going to just pretty much jump into some of the bigger plank jobs, and this thing's going to start coming together real fast. But until next time, I'll see you then.